Children of the Almighty God, have you ever felt that your childhood held whispers of something greater, as though invisible threads were weaving your life into a divine tapestry, even before you fully understood it? Sometimes the signs are subtle, an inexplicable sense of purpose, a curiosity beyond your years, or an empathy so deep it felt like you carried the world in your heart. These moments are not mere accidents, they are echoes of a higher calling. In Jeremiah 1:5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." If you've ever questioned why certain experiences marked your early life, perhaps they were signposts pointing to a mission uniquely crafted for you. C.S. Lewis wrote, "We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be." Your childhood experiences may have been preparing you for a faith that would endure and a purpose that would transform lives. Have you paused to consider the seeds planted in your youth? Could they be indicators that you were chosen for a higher purpose? If these questions stir something within you, join us as we explore 6 signs that your childhood was infused with divine intention. God's hand may have been guiding you all along, shaping you for a mission transcendent. Have you ever noticed how some people feel the pain of others as if it were their own? Perhaps, even as a child, you sensed the weight behind a friend's silence, or the joy hidden within a parent's smile. This deep, unspoken understanding isn't merely sensitivity, it's an extraordinary gift. It's as if your heart, even in its tender youth, was already attuned to a higher frequency of care and service. God often weaves such empathy into those he calls for a special purpose. Jeremiah 1:5 tells us, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This deep awareness of others' emotions is not random. It is a thread in the fabric of your divine calling. It reveals a heart prepared to comfort, to heal, and to serve. A heart like this is not hardened by the world, but remains tender, ready to carry out acts of mercy. Perhaps you've wondered why you sometimes carry the burdens of others so intensely. This heightened consciousness is a signpost, pointing you towards a mission transcendent, to be a beacon of compassion in a world that desperately needs it. In C.S. Lewis's words, "To love at all is to be vulnerable." True empathy is not weakness. It is an echo of God's own love working through you. But this gift is not always easy to bear. The weight of caring can feel overwhelming, especially when the needs around you seem endless. It takes strength to continue carrying others' burdens and resilience to do so without growing weary. Yet, remember that God does not give a gift without also offering divine protection and guidance for your path. When you feel this empathy stirring within, know that it's not just a feeling, it's a call. You have been given a heart finely tuned to sense the invisible pains and joys around you. With that sensitivity comes a sacred responsibility to reflect God's care to others. And just as he equips you with this gift, he also shields you along the journey. Have you ever faced a situation where danger seemed inevitable, yet you walked away unharmed? Perhaps, as a child, you narrowly escaped an accident or felt a sudden urge to avoid a path you would usually take. These moments of unexplainable deliverance are not coincidences. They are glimpses of divine protection. In Psalm 91:11, we are reminded, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." God's care often reveals itself through these subtle yet powerful interventions. We may not see the angels who shield us, but their presence is as real as the air we breathe. Like the wind bending a tree away from a storm, these unseen guardians redirect us from harm. These premonitions, or sudden shifts in circumstance, are expressions of God's desire to preserve those He has called for a special mission. Even when we are unaware, heaven's armies are deployed on our behalf. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Miracles are a retelling in small letters of the very same story which is written across the world in letters too large for some of us to see." When you look back on your life, can you recognize these miracles in small letters? They are there, etched into the fabric of your journey, each escape, each unexplainable rescue, a testimony to God's constant vigilance. But why does God protect some and not others? It's a question that can haunt us, yet the answer often lies not in favoritism, but in purpose. Those who carry a spiritual calling, those who are destined to fulfill a mission transcendent, are shielded because their work is not yet complete. You are preserved because your story has chapters yet to be written. These experiences are more than just physical safety. They offer a profound sense of connection with God. They remind us that we are not alone in the face of life's dangers. Each instance of protection is a whisper of divine intimacy, a reminder that you are seen, valued, and necessary. They build within you an unshakable faith that no matter the trial, God's hand is near. Sometimes God's protection is not about avoiding harm, but about strengthening our resilience. Even when we walk through trials, He shields our spirit from breaking. Like gold refined in the fire, we emerge stronger, our faith more radiant. These trials teach us to lean on Him and not on our own understanding. In those moments, His protection is a shield to our inner being. When you recall these moments of intervention divine, let them inspire a deeper sense of gratitude and introspection. Why were you spared? Could it be that your life holds a purpose, yet unrealized? Reflect on this. You were saved not just for your own sake, but to be a vessel of grace for others. Your survival is part of a larger narrative, a story of divine orchestration. This awareness shapes your perception and your care for others. Knowing you have been protected compels you to become a protector, to extend a hand to those who are vulnerable. It deepens your empathy, reminding you that God's grace flows through you to those who need it most. You were preserved to help preserve others, a living testament to His watchful love. Can you recall a moment where you felt this shield of protection divine? Perhaps now, as you reflect, you sense the threads of a greater purpose weaving through your life. These experiences are signposts, guiding you toward a path where challenges and resilience will refine you further. Do you see how God's protection has prepared you for what lies ahead? Have you ever sensed a closeness to God that felt as natural as breathing, even in your earliest memories? Perhaps, as a child, you found comfort in silent prayers, or felt a peace that transcended understanding while gazing at the sky. These moments aren't mere childhood fantasies. They are signs of a divine connection, woven into your being long before you understood their full significance. Jeremiah 1:5 reminds us, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This innate connection with God is a signal that your life has a purpose divine. Your heart was made to seek Him, and this bond isn't forged through effort, but is a gift bestowed upon you, a calling embedded in your soul. God was drawing near to you before you even knew how to call His name. C.S. Lewis spoke of a desire for something that has never actually appeared in our experience. That longing, that quiet pull toward the eternal, often begins in childhood. Have you ever felt an unexplainable joy or peace that seemed to come from beyond yourself? These are whispers of the divine, affirmations that you are known, loved, and supported by the Almighty. This connection often manifests in moments of quiet reflection or unexpected joy. It might have been during a song, a story, or a moment of stillness when you felt God's presence like a warm embrace. Such experiences reveal a sensibility to the spiritual realm, a heightened awareness of a world beyond the visible. It is as though your soul knew it belonged to something greater. This early bond with God shapes your spiritual journey. It nurtures a heart tuned to His voice and His purpose. As Romans 12:2 exhorts, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The closeness you felt as a child was a seed of transformation, meant to grow into a life guided by divine wisdom and purpose. Yet, maintaining this connection isn't always easy. The noise of the world, the weight of challenges, and the doubts that creep in can make His presence feel distant. But those early experiences are reminders that the connection still exists. It's like an anchor beneath the waves. Though you may drift, you are never truly lost. The bond is resilient, as strong as ever. Have you ever noticed that during times of introspection, this connection resurfaces? Perhaps in moments of quiet prayer, or when pondering questions deep about life and suffering, you sense His nearness again. These moments invite you to reawaken the divine relationship planted in your heart, a relationship that never truly disappeared, but waited patiently for your attention. This connection equips you with a unique spiritual perception. It allows you to sense God's presence even in the mundane and the challenging. You become aware of His hand in your life, guiding and comforting you. This perception is a gift, one that enables you to navigate life's challenges with a sense of divine assurance. You are not merely surviving, you are walking in step with God. Reflect on this connection from your childhood. Do you see how it has carried you through life's twists and turns? This bond with the Almighty was preparing you for a journey of faith, one marked by challenges that would build your resilience. And as you embrace this connection, you step further into the calling God has always had for you. Life, at times, is like a tree growing in harsh soil. The winds bend its branches, the storms threaten its roots, yet it stands firm, strengthened by every trial. From childhood, if you faced hardships that seem beyond your years, know this: those experiences were not pointless. They were shaping your inner strength, preparing you for a greater calling that required resilience. In James 1:2-3, we read, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." The trials you faced as a child weren't just random misfortunes. They were part of a divine process to develop a fortitude that ordinary circumstances could not produce. God was preparing you for a mission that would require a heart as steady as stone and as compassionate as Christ's. Do you remember times when it felt as if the world was too heavy for your young shoulders? Perhaps you experienced loss, rejection, or uncertainty. These challenges were like forges, where the flames purified your character. Each trial added a layer of strength, teaching you to rely not on yourself, but on a higher power. You were being tempered, like steel in fire, becoming strong enough to withstand greater storms. C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." The challenges of your childhood were not signs of God's absence. They were evidence of His work within you. Each difficulty carved out more space for compassion, patience, and wisdom. God knew that to fulfill your calling, you would need to be both tender and unbreakable. This resilience is a gift that equips you to face future battles without fear. Where others may falter, you stand firm because you have been tested. Your strength is not mere stubbornness. It is the product of God's careful craftsmanship. Like a sculptor, he chisels away the unnecessary, revealing the purpose he planted in you before you even knew it was there. Think of how these trials cultivated a deeper connection with God. When life was hard, did you not find yourself seeking his presence more fervently? Those moments of struggle pushed you closer to him, teaching you to trust in his promises. Through every tear, every moment of doubt, God was building within you a faith that could not be shaken. Your challenges have also deepened your empathy. When you encounter others in pain, your heart understands their struggle because you have walked similar paths. This isn't a coincidence. Your experiences were shaping you into someone who could carry the burdens of others with grace and understanding. Your story of survival is a testament to God's protective hand and your unyielding spirit. As you reflect on these difficulties, do you see how they've equipped you for a greater purpose? You were not defeated, you were refined. Every challenge has been a tool, crafting you into a vessel strong enough to carry a divine mission. Like a tree that bends but does not break, your resilience is proof of God's care and your calling. Now, as you stand firm in faith, your eyes turn toward the horizon. This journey, shaped by struggles and victories, leads you to a place where stories of faith, courage, and sacrifice light the way forward. Are you ready to embrace the narrative God has been writing in your life? Stories are like seeds planted in the soil of our minds. Some fall by the wayside and are forgotten, while others take root and grow into mighty trees of understanding and conviction. Have you ever felt drawn to tales of faith, courage, and sacrifice, even as a child? These stories weren't just entertainment. They were echoes of your calling, nudging you toward a higher purpose. When you were captivated by the faith of Daniel in the lion's den, or the courage of David facing Goliath, it wasn't by chance. These stories spoke to a deep truth within you, a divine spark waiting to be kindled. Your heart was being shaped to understand that life holds more than what the eyes can see. It was as if God whispered through these narratives, revealing the kind of faith he was preparing you to live out. C.S. Lewis said, "We read to know we are not alone." These stories of faith gave you a sense of connection, not only to those who lived them, but to the God who empowered them. Each tale became a thread, weaving a greater tapestry of spiritual understanding. As you soaked in these accounts of divine intervention, you were learning that God's hand moves powerfully in the lives of those who trust him. Perhaps these stories stirred a curiosity spiritual, prompting you to ask deep questions. What is my purpose? Or, can God use me too? These are not ordinary thoughts for a child. They are signs of a higher calling, a life meant to walk in faith, guided by divine purpose and conviction. You weren't just absorbing stories. You were answering a subtle call to action. When you reflect on your childhood fascination with such stories, do you see how they planted seeds of resilience and strength? They prepared you to face your own giants and lions in life. These narratives equipped you with a quiet confidence that even in challenges, divine protection and purpose would see you through. God was using the tales of others to shape the story of your own life. Your love for these accounts was also a sign of your singularity, a unique heart, sensitive to spiritual truths. While others may have brushed these stories aside, you held them close, pondering their meaning. This sensitivity is a gift, an indication that your spirit was tuned to hear God's voice through the lives of his faithful servants. These stories also awakened a sense of mission transcendent. You began to understand that life is more than survival. It's about living a story worth telling. You saw that faith often requires sacrifice, courage, and unwavering trust. This understanding didn't just shape your mind, it fortified your soul, preparing you to live out your own tale of faith and perseverance. Even now, these stories can serve as anchors. When you face trials, remember how God delivered his people in the past. These accounts remind us that his faithfulness endures. Just as he strengthened and protected them, he does the same for you. Your fascination with their journeys was an invitation to believe that you, too, are part of God's ongoing story. As these seeds of faith grew, they fueled a curiosity for deeper answers. They led you to ask profound questions about God's ways, suffering, and divine purpose. Have you ever felt that pull toward a greater understanding, a desire to comprehend spiritual truths more deeply? This curiosity is the next step on your journey of faith. Life is like a puzzle scattered across the table, each piece hinting at a grander image. As a child, did you ever find yourself wondering why things are the way they are, as though searching for missing pieces? While others accepted simple answers, your heart longed to understand life's deeper mysteries. This curiosity was not a distraction. It was a sign of a higher calling, a spirit drawn toward divine understanding. In Proverbs 2:3-5, we read, "Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." Your questions were the cries of a heart that knew there was more to life than what meets the eye. They were the first steps toward a journey of wisdom. C.S. Lewis once noted, "If I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world." Your hunger for deeper answers reflects a spirit aware of its eternal origin. You weren't satisfied with surface-level explanations because you sensed that a greater truth lay beneath. This perception was sharpening your ability to discern God's hand at work in the complexities of life. This curiosity also led you to ask questions profound about suffering, purpose, and God's plan. Have you ever sat in wonder, asking, "Why does pain exist?" or "How can I know God's will?" These are not idle thoughts. They are markers of a soul engaged in the calling to seek truth. God was developing in you a sensitivity to his ways, a heart that would wrestle with big questions and emerge stronger. While some might view such questioning as doubt, in reality, it is a form of faith. To question sincerely is to believe that answers exist. Your willingness to explore these mysteries is a reflection of a faith in formation, a faith not afraid of complexity. Each question you asked was a step toward a deeper relationship with God, one rooted in understanding rather than blind acceptance. These questions often arise in moments of introspection. When life's challenges pressed in, your mind sought meaning. This pursuit of answers wasn't about finding easy solutions, but about growing in wisdom and discernment. Through your questions, God was shaping a heart that could see beyond the obvious and recognize his presence even in confusion. Your curiosity also cultivated empathy and compassion. By seeking to understand life's difficulties, you became more attuned to the struggles of others. This consciousness elevated your ability to care for people deeply and sincerely. Your desire to understand suffering wasn't just intellectual. It was a pathway to serving others with a heart that reflects God's love. Have you ever noticed that this thirst for answers led you to stories of faith and divine intervention? Each answer you discovered seemed to connect with the threads of purpose woven into your life. This journey of inquiry is not separate from your calling. It is an essential part of it. God uses your curiosity to lead you toward a deeper awareness of His mission for you. As you reflect on these moments of questioning, consider how they prepared you for the challenges and resilience required in your faith journey. Your desire to know more wasn't a detour, it was the path itself. The search for answers reveals a heart committed to seeking God's truth. And through this journey, God continues to refine your understanding, preparing you for the next step in His divine plan. Like threads woven into a tapestry, these signs from your childhood point to a divine calling, a life marked by purpose, resilience, and a deep connection with God. Each experience, whether it was your extraordinary empathy, moments of divine protection, or a curiosity for deeper answers, was a whisper from the Almighty, guiding you toward the person He designed you to be. These signs are not just memories, they are promises and invitations. They call you to reflect, to ask yourself, how am I living out this calling today? Have I embraced the gifts and trials that have shaped me for God's purpose? Your journey is ongoing, and God continues to reveal His plan through every step you take. Trust that each challenge, question, and moment of faith is part of His perfect design. You are not alone in this journey. There is a community of believers walking alongside you, each with their own stories of faith and divine calling. Share your thoughts in the comments, perhaps with a simple affirmation like, "I am walking in God's purpose." Let us support and encourage each other as we embrace the mission God has placed in our hearts. If this message touched you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear these words of encouragement. Together, let's continue seeking His wisdom and living out our divine purpose with courage and faith.